everybody and welcome back to my channel. If you're new here, my name is Neve and it would mean the world to me if you would stick around. In today's video I'm going to be doing my November reading wrap up as well as my December TBR. You will very quickly discover why they're in the same video. And a bit of a life update, I guess, because I've been gone for a couple of weeks. I hope that you enjoyed today's video. If you do enjoy today's video, please leave a like or a comment or both. And if you're new here and this is the first video of mine that you're watching, if you enjoy it, I would very much appreciate if you would subscribe. Let's get started. So the first and only book that I read from start to finish this month was Cersei by Madeline Miller. If I have said that wrong, let's all just decide that we're ignoring that. You heard it wrong, yeah? I'm kidding, but you get what I mean. First of all, have always thought that this book is gorgeous. I was worried that working in a bookshop, which is what I do at the minute, would ruin a lot of book covers for me because I'd be staring at them so often, but thankfully this is not one of them yet. Song of Achilles is walking a fine line, as much as I love that book, but Cersei has not yet been tainted by overexposure. I had though never read it before now, and staring at it every day did make me buy it, so you know, positives. Anyway, so Cersei is another Greek myth retelling by Madeline Miller. This time it is about Cersei. I will read you the blurb before I get into my review. In the house of Helios, god of the sun and the mightiest of the Titans, a daughter is born. Cersei is strange, not powerful and terrible like her father, nor gorgeous and mercenary like her mother. But she has a dark power of her own, witchcraft. When Cersei's gift threatens the gods, she's banished to the island of Aiea, where she hones her occult craft, casting spells, gathering strange herbs and taming wild beasts. Yet a woman who stands alone cannot live in peace for long, and among her island's guests is an unexpected visitor, the mortal Odysseus, for whom Cersei will risk everything. Cersei's tale is a vivid epic of family rivalry, love and loss, the inextinguishable song of a woman burning hot and bright in the darkness of a man's world. There you go. So this is like a retelling of part of the Odyssey, or all of the Odyssey. I've not actually read the Odyssey, but I think Cersei is sort of like a villain in the Odyssey. I don't think that she is perhaps painted in a good light in the Odyssey, but she is in this, so well, good. Fair is maybe the better descriptor. Anyway, I love this book. I thought it was great. Probably 4 out of 5 stars. I enjoyed every single word of it. I don't want to go as far as to say that it's gotten me out of a reading slump, because you know, I've still got to try and read something after this and see, but I did read this book faster than I have read a book since September, and I literally had so much fun. Because the way Madeline Miller writes is fascinating, and I feel like I can tell that every word has been purposefully picked. Like, there's no haphazardness in her language, and you can tell that. And I think you can just really tell that she cares. There's this element of like devotion and passion to this craft that makes reading it so much more fun. Because you can tell that she knows what she's talking about. You can tell that she understands the stories that these are adapted from. Even if I don't understand the stories that they're adapted from, you can tell with the language and the characters and the detail that goes into telling this and making sure that people who are reading this who aren't familiar with the original myths that they're being adapted from can understand. It's accessible, but also like the perspective is completely different, and I feel like that's such a talent to be able to completely change the narrative of a story whilst also staying so faithful to the story that's narrative you're changing. And I have a lot of respect for that, and I think this is a wonderful book. And it was nice to read a book that was so centered around changing the story of a woman who really just seems to have been villainized for being a woman, and a woman who doesn't fit the exact image of what a woman like her should have from birth. And it was nice to see Cersei grow into this power of her own that was separate from the image of her that she would have never been able to live up to, which made the end so much more bittersweet, which I'm not going to go into because I don't want to spoil it, but it was such a wonderful book. I loved every single word, every single page of it, and I look forward to reading the next retelling that we are graced with. The only other book that I made any sort of like progress with this month other than Cersei was The Lord of the Flies by William Golding, but I've only read half of it and I have absolutely no idea when I'll read the other half. I will finish it. It isn't a DNF. I'm just not really in a rush. It's not gripped me the way that I thought it would. I thought it's a really small book. I will get through it so fast. I'll devour it, but I haven't quite done that. And it's not because I'm not enjoying it. I just don't think I'm quite invested in the way that I thought I might be. I'll maybe try again from the start. I might not. I haven't actually decided yet. I just know that I would like to finish it. I would like to see how it ends. And I don't think I've gotten to the worst of the characters yet. And I would like to see how far they go. Also though, thinking that their behaviour and how far they haven't went is partly maybe what's slowing me down. The edition that I've got has a like introduction by Stephen King, and in it he says that the thing that sort of made him fall for this book and the appeal of it that was that William Golding had written a book about little boys in which they acted like the naughty little boys that they were. And I think that might be the crash and burn of this story for me slightly, in that I just am kind of like, ugh, little boys. I just, that sort of like childish misbehaving and stuff like that is just not endearing to me in the way I think it probably is to little boys when they read this book. Do you know what I mean? But anyway, I would like to finish it. I'm going to finish it and hopefully it'll appear in a wrap up soon, because I do want to know how it ends and what my overall thoughts of it are. Next on from this is the books that I would like to read in December, and I only have 3 here, and I'm thinking even that is adventurous if I continue to go the way that I'm going. But you will see a theme here that I think will give you a bit of hope, because it's what's giving me a bit of hope. So the first one is 1,000 Ships by Natalie Haynes, which I will read you the blurb for. It was never the story of one woman or two, it was the story of all of them. In the middle of the night, Creusa, I should learn how to say all these ancient Greek names, wakes to find her beloved city engulfed in flames. 10 seemingly endless years of conflict between the Greeks and the Trojans are over. Troy has fallen. From the Trojan woman whose fates now lie in the hands of the Greeks, to the Amazon princess who fought Achilles on their behalf, to Penelope awaiting the return of Odysseus, to the 3 goddesses whose feud started it all, these are the stories of the women embroiled in the legendary war. Powerfully told from an all-female perspective, in 1,000 Ships, Natalie Haynes puts the women, girls and goddesses at the centre of the story. So it's another Greek myth retelling, it's another retelling of the Trojan War, it's a very pretty book, as they all seem to be, and I'm very excited. I'm on a bit of a Greek myth kick at the minute. Madeline Miller has awoken something in me that I didn't think was there to be awoken. I think what the pull is with Greek myth retellings for me is I'm not a massive fantasy person, because fantasy novels tend to be really long and be in series because you need like a book just to set up all of the world building, and I run out of momentum with them quite quickly. But I feel like this is like the perfect meeting point between general contemporary fiction and fantasy, and it sits right in this really sweet spot that I'm having so much fun in. So there's that. The next book, which is now how you'll start to see the theme, is Ariadne. Again, I should learn how to pronounce the names of, you know, all these titular women, but I haven't, unfortunately. And the blurb for this is: as princess of Crete and daughters of the fearsome King Minos, Ariadne and her sister Phaedra grow up hearing the terrible bellows of the Minotaur from the labyrinth beneath the palace. The Minotaur, Minos' greatest shame and Ariadne's brother, demands blood every year. When Theseus, Prince of Athens, arrives in Crete as a sacrifice to the beast, Ariadne falls in love with him. But helping Theseus defeat the monster means betraying her family. And Ariadne knows that in a world ruled by the mercurial gods, drawing their attention can cost you everything. Ariadne has heard too many tales of women being punished for the acts of men. She's determined to set her own fate. But will her decision to help Theseus ensure her happy ending? Or will she find herself sacrificed for her lover's ambition? There you go. I don't actually know what this book looks like without the dust jacket on. I'm hoping it's nice. Oh, it's just plain blue. The spine's very pretty though. I mean, that's... Sorry. I would have preferred to get this in paperback, as is often the case. I'm not a massive hardback fan, but I don't think the paperback is out yet, and I couldn't wait that long. So here it is. Again, I'm very excited. Ariadne appears for like a couple of chapters in Cersei, and I grew quite fond of the protective urge that Cersei has over her for the very short amount of time that their stories overlap in Cersei, and decided that meant I had to read this, obviously. There is another one that I would like to read that I don't have and isn't technically on my TBR, but I think her name is Pat Barker, has written a Greek myth retelling that I think is called The Woman of Troy, and I would like to read that as well. And there is another one, just one more, that's the last one, that is everywhere in my work at the minute, which is Piranesi, I think, which is another Greek myth retelling. I would like to just read them all. And I think as well, I would like to read the original. Like, I would like to read the Iliad and the Odyssey. I do own the Odyssey, I think. I don't own the Iliad. So they are definitely goals for next year. I'm not going to attempt that in December, but perhaps next year I will finally tackle those two. The last book that I'm putting on my December TBR, which deviates from the small pattern that has carried throughout this video, is Beloved by Toni Morrison. I wanted to read this for a very long time, and then right before I started my new job at the bookshop, I feel like I was getting targeted videos on like TikTok and stuff, people talking about this book and like quotes from the book and just like reviews of this book. And then when I started my job, it was one of the books they sort of said like, this is one of those books that I feel like you really should read at some point or have an opinion on, etc, etc. And I was like, it's a sign from the universe that I should need to pull my finger out and get this book read. So I bought a copy, and I'm very much looking forward to it because it's been on my TBR for a very long time. So that's that. That was my November wrap up. That was my December TBR. And on top of that, I don't have much to say. Working a lot. My new job in a bookshop, which is like the dream, isn't it? Like, it is just where most people, I think, would like to work if they had the chance. I had something else to say that I was like, oh, I should talk about this. I'm going back to the theatre next weekend to see the national tour of Heathers, which is very exciting. I'm not the biggest Heathers fan in the world, but I've not seen a musical live in a very, very long time. Like, I think the last time I seen a musical live was in 2016, because my musical theatre fandom, or whatever you want to call it, sort of waned a bit when I was like 13, 14, and then kicked back in end of 2018. And then by the time I had shows I really wanted to see and had tickets to them, COVID happened and all those shows got cancelled. So finally going to see a musical this weekend, and I am very excited, and I will let you know what I thought when I get home. I hope that you enjoyed today's video, even though it was a little bit all over the place. I would love to hear what you read in November and what you thought about it, and what you're planning to read in December. And I'd also like to know what books are on your Christmas wish list this year, because I've banned myself from properly asking for books for Christmas, because I have a lot of books on my shelves that I really need to read before I buy new ones. I probably will still buy new ones for Christmas, but I'm trying to limit myself. I hope that you have had a wonderful day, that you have a wonderful day. Happy December, and I'll see you, I'm not going to say next week, I will see you soon. Fingers crossed. I'd like to see you soon. Bye.